Marc, for those of you who would like to hear Marc play, of course, he performs quite frequently. The last time was in February when I went and Marc played the first, Beethoven's first piano concerto at the Ambassador Auditorium, and it was beautiful, beautifully played. But also, just like Steve described, you can see Marc playing on YouTube just by, typing in Marc Yu, and you can see his appearances. Can you share your comment with the audience, Marc? Did you say something to?
What was the question again? Yes, I sometimes watch YouTube because I'm usually very busy. I do have my own videos on YouTube.
You watch? You're a fan of YouTube.
Yes. He is too. My dad is too. A fan.
I must admit, I've been addicted to watching YouTube, and now I can't get anything done after 10 p.m. because I'm glued to the screen. There is so much great content for those of you who like different interests, like classical music, any type of music, automobiles. Absolutely. You can almost find anything on YouTube. And there are for me, I can look at any type of eye surgery. I upload surgery tapes, exchange idea. You can even communicate with doctors from another country and just show live videos of everything. Marc has a lot of videos we uploaded, and it's also useful to us to see what people think, what are their comments, and we can reply, and in this process, establish a way of communication. So I think this whole idea of YouTube is very interesting and has benefited the mankind a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know, on that point, for years, human rights advocates have been using videotapes to try and document human rights abuses, but the process of getting that information out there was so onerous and so expensive that it wasn't, for many, many years, very largely shared. And now with YouTube, right, much of what goes on can almost instantaneously become news to the world, and I think that has dramatically changed the ways that we can expose the kinds of suffering that people have in all parts of the world. And I have a very specific story, which is that we had a case involving a group of workers who we fought a very hard-fought 3-year battle with, and at the very end we won the case, but the defendants, who were a woman and her teenage son, disappeared, and they disappeared with a lot of money. And we spent many years trying to find them. And then a few years later, the son decided to post a YouTube video of himself driving in his new Ferrari and talking about how he souped it up and just how cool he was. And so that was really invaluable, as you can imagine, in our pursuing the ultimate collection for our clients.
By the way, I don't know whether there are any questions and answers. You know, I don't know whether anybody is collecting them. Please give them to me when you're ready. I do have a question for Steve. One of my really friends I graduated from University of London, and at that time, he's a few years older than I am, but his name is Charles Kao, and his is an amazing story. He was known as a father of fiber optics. You know, all this internet superhighway, it would not have been possible without Charles. Charles was the one who first suggested using glass as a medium for transmitting the messages. And before him, you know, telephones and so on, radios, the conducting medium was always copper. And Charles's story is really very amazing. He came to London from China, and he didn't know which school to go to. He wanted to go to university, so he found the Polytechnic down the road from the boarding house where he lived. So he enrolled there in order to get the requirements to get into London University. And he did get the qualifications, which was General Certificate of Education, for those of you who graduated from an English system. And after he graduated, he realized that he had missed the deadline for applying to a regular university. So he didn't want to wait another year in order to enter university because he was running out of money. So he said, how can I get my education? They said, you can go on, get the degree from the Polytechnic. So he said, all right. So he went to the Polytechnic and he got his Bachelor of Science from the Polytechnic. But he didn't realize that in England in those days, they were very, very class conscious. And a degree from a Polytechnic is not the same as a degree from a regular university. And so he could not get into a PhD program, which is what he wanted to do. So he looked for a job and he couldn't get a regular, prestigious job. And there was a little firm called Metal Box where he got a job and they gave him the work that nobody else wanted because it was too tedious. They said, why don't you try to improve conduction in the copper wire, the messages. And then he was the one who then started thinking, well, maybe there is another material that I could use. And so he was the one that came up with glass. And everybody told him that this was impossible because in those days, everybody was stuck with the idea that you have glass as a hollow tube. And then there was so much impulses that were lost. I'm not a physicist. I don't quite understand it. By using this hollow tube. So he was the one that came up with the idea of it being a microfiber. That's why, fiber optics. He was the one. And he's known as the father of fiber optics. And at first he even had difficulty publishing the first paper because he came from this Polytechnic. But actually what he found was groundbreaking. And he told me that if he had gone into a regular university, he doubts whether he would have been discovered fiber optics. So it was a question of fate or chance or luck. Well, in your case, Steve, you have made this phenomenal discovery, and we were talking the other day about this. And I think Woody Allen made a movie called Match Point. I don't know whether any of you had seen that movie. He shows it as a tennis ball on a net, and it can fall one way or the other, and your life depended on it. And I wondered whether there was such a fateful moment in your life that determined, that guided you, or was it just, what do you think, looking back on the
No, I mean, I don't think there was any single moment. I actually just conducted there was a book coming out in Taiwan. It was talking about sort of the most formative years when sort of people that have achieved greatness in their 20s, and it was a kind of an embarrassing interview because we're going over every year 20, 21, 22, and there's nothing that happens. So I went to school, everything was normal, and then the year went. And then 27 hit, and then that in the last 3 years there was YouTube, but there was nothing really extraordinary in the other years, and I think that it's kind of going to be a repeat of tonight's or this afternoon's mentoring sessions, But I think that, as we alluded to earlier, I think that a lot of it is sort of luck and timing, right? I think that. I think everything is encompassed under this umbrella of sort of luck, and as part of that is just a matter of fate, a matter of timing, and a matter of just being in the right place, right time, with all the other environmental requirements that's needed to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It just happens to be all meet up, luckily in this one spot. But I think there is some percentage that is controlled by us, by the people that are behind these projects. And I've always thought that, in whatever degree, whatever percentage that we can control outside of the fate, outside of luck, that's the only place that we have any wiggling room. And so we've always thought that that's the place that we want to put there is something that goes to be said about putting hard work in and putting a lot of effort in. And however great that may be in the grander scheme of things, I think that is the one place that you can control. And for that part, you want to maximize whatever you can control.
We have quite a few questions from the audience. This one is for Marc. One of them says, what do you want to do when you grow up? But I think that's obvious.
A pianist. And I love ping pong, so maybe ping pong player. I love ping pong.
The other one says, how many hours do you practice?
Depends if I've jet lag or not.